everyone! Today we are going to be dwindling down the book picks for the September book club. If you don't know, I have a little book club over on Patreon, and every month we read a book together. So I am tasked today with giving you 4 books that relate to our theme. The theme for September is academic mysteries. I love that theme. I'm very excited. And I'm going to dwindle it down to 2, and then it's over to my patrons to decide what book we read together in September. I think September and academia just fit so nicely together. I don't know about you, but I always really link September with back to school. It feels like a fresh start. It's almost like New Year's. Anybody else? Okay. The first book that we could read together is The Lying Game by Ruth Ware. This is about a group of friends who, while they were together at a boarding school called Sultan House, they used to have this game that they would play together, and it was called The Lying Game, and they would essentially trick fellow boarders and faculty. That game unfortunately had terrible consequences. I'm assuming someone died or something terrible happened, and they have kept this secret for many years, 17 years in particular, until one day one of them has texted the group of girls who really don't speak a lot saying, I need you. And they know that they'll be right there for one another. But I think there's also a reason that they haven't really spoken. And I think all of it has to do with all of the time that was spent at the boarding school and what they did while they were there. It sounds great. Let's read the first line. I've started reading the first lines for our book clubs because I feel like it helps me decide to dwindle it down. I just think it gives you a sense of the book. All right, first line. The reach is wide and quiet this morning, the pale blue sky streaked with pink mackerel belly clouds, the shallow sea barely rippling in the slight breeze, and so the sound of the dog barking breaks into the calm like gunshots, setting flocks of gulls crying and wheeling in the air. That is so vivid, like I can imagine it so well. I really love that first line. Next up is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is the first in a series. I believe this might be YA, and this follows a young woman named Pip. She is a high school student. At her high school, a boy named Sal murdered his girlfriend Andy and then killed himself. At least that is what everyone has believed all of these years. 5 years has elapsed. Now Pip is a senior at the high school, and she just thinks that it's off and something was missed. She knew Sal very well. She felt very close to him, and she does not believe that he was the murderer. So she decides for her final project to kind of reopen the case and look into it. It sounds like a lot of fun. So let's read the first line of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Pip knew where they lived. Next is The Liar's Girl by Catherine Ryan Howard. I love Catherine. You guys know I talk about her too much, and I should probably read more of her books. So this is about a young woman named Allison. She went to school at Dublin's elite St. John's College. And while she was there, her best friend was murdered by a serial killer who just also happened to be like a super attractive, charming, very well-loved student at the college. He was discovered and he was sentenced to, I don't even know how many years in prison, but he's actually in the Central Psychiatric Hospital. So she was naturally devastated by those events. And 10 years later, she has left and she's fled to the Netherlands. People are being killed again, in particular women, and they're being killed in the very same way at the very same college. They're being drowned in the Grand Canal. And the detectives on the case are obviously linking what happened with Will and his crimes with this new case. Clearly, it's a copycat, and Will agrees to talk to them, but only if he can speak with Allison. And so she gets involved with her best friend's killer and this whole new mystery. It sounds wonderful. Let's read the first line. It's 4:17 on a Saturday morning when Jen comes to on a battered couch in a house somewhere in Rathmines, one of those red brick terrace houses that's been divided into flats, let out to students and left to rot. Wow, that sounds really good. Okay, next is The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. This really could be good as well because it's gothic and eerie. Simone St. James writes mysteries that like border on the paranormal. Is that fair, would you say? So we go backwards and forwards in time. We meet these women, young women in Vermont in 1950, and we meet them at Idlewild Hall, which is a school where very smart but kind of troubled and like troublemaker girls go. And these girls believe that the whole hall is haunted, which is really fun. Unfortunately, one of the girls at this boarding school goes missing. And then we flash forwards in time to Vermont 2014, and we follow Fiona, and she is obsessed with her elder sister's disappearance, which I believe happened at Idlewild Hall. And she is trying to find out what happened with the case. She feels like the case wasn't handled properly, and she starts to dig up the past. So let's read the first line. The sun vanished below the horizon as the girl crested the rise of Old Barons Road. Okay, now I have to choose which two to suggest for the patrons. Oh. Okay, I decided to go quite dark. Well, they're all dark, but kind of gothic-y dark, I think. So we've got The Broken Girls by Simone St. James, and we've got The Liar's Girl by Catherine Ryan Howard. So we could read one of these. If you want to join us for the book club to choose between these books and read one of them with us, you're always welcome to. The link is always in the description box below. I cannot wait to see what the patrons decide. I'll chat with you guys soon. Bye.